Hey, how's it going out there, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great day. Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Cash, and this is Weekly Recap. What is Weekly Recap, you ask? It's me going over a week of operating a semi-truck in the United States for 7 days or less. I'm going to go over the loads I did, why I did them, how it all worked out, how it all shook out, and then we'll go over some numbers of the money of being an owner-operator in the United States. This week is from the end of May 2025. If you're wondering, if you're watching in the future, smash that like button for me. I much appreciate it. So, as most weeks do, this starts in Minnesota. I was at home. I did like a restart. Came back out on this load. Pretty standard operating procedure for me these days. I've done probably 3 or 4 of these weeks. I might put out 2 weekly recaps here soon to kind of get caught back up a little bit, because I am about 3 weeks behind right now, and that's pretty much with no major time off. So just, not. But let's talk about this week from the end of May 2025. So I did 2 loads this week, Minnesota to Georgia, Georgia right back to Minnesota, just how I like it. This is a 5-day week for me. It's basically 2 days down, and then it's like reload that night, come back up. Takes me about 2 days to get back up, and then unload that next morning. It's typically how these shake out for me. So Minnesota to Georgia, 42 empty miles, 1176 on the loaded miles. That is a little bit longer of a route than it could be. I take a longer route to avoid certain areas like Chicago. So it's a little longer route than it really has to be, but it saves more in tolls going that way. So that's why we do that. 1218 total miles, -10 degrees. Realistically, that's 0 degrees they want that at. So normally I set it at, if the temperature outside is not stupid hot, I'll set it to like -5, start and stop. It is frozen food, no big deal for it to be on start and stop. The bill of lading says maintain at 0 degrees or below. So typically I'll set it like 5-6 degrees negative and then do start and stop on that. But it is a heavy load, 43,000 plus pounds on those. They're like 43.5 average. Very standard product, loaded very uniformly. It'll work in the 8th or the 9th spot on my truck and trailer setup I have. So that's the way we do that. And that load pays $3,000 going down. And then we do Georgia back up to Minnesota, 14 empty miles, 1154 on the loaded miles, and that is 1168 total miles. And that load is 25 degrees continuous, 36,000 pounds on this one. Those vary a little bit. They go from like 27 up to 40. So this one's kind of more on the high end, but 36,000 pounds. And that load pays $2,400. And that makes my total gross revenue between me and my carrier $5,400, and then my 80% of that is $4,320, and that is all miles, $2,386 all miles, and that's 56 empty miles, $2,330 on a loaded mile. Now let's talk about rate per mile. $2.26 all miles. Every mile the truck turns pays $2.26. That is $1.81 my 80%, and that is $2.32 a loaded mile. $2.32 a loaded mile. So these loads are very consistent. I can get both of these going down and coming back. The way it works is it's like a 5-day turn. So basically, I can do 2 of them and be home every 10 days, and then they're pretty much available through the week. There's not many weekend options for these. The one going down, you can deliver on a Saturday if you get the Thursday pickup. I just figured that out the other day. And The one coming back from Georgia is available pickup every day but Sunday. No Sunday pickup there. So I can turn 2 of these and be home every 10 days and make almost $11,000, which is pretty good, I think. It's consistent. It's always there. The pros, that's the pros. The cons, I wish they weighed a little less. They are super heavy. They do, pull your fuel economy down a little bit. And with the way the fuel prices have been going in the last month, really starting to feel those fuel prices. I don't know about you guys, but yeah. I mean, we're talking 10 cents a night that fuel goes up some nights. I would say on average, I'm probably seeing 40 cents higher over the last, month to month versus last month to this month. About a 40 cent per gallon difference. So it makes a difference. It really does. So that's the pros and the cons of this. I'll probably continue to run these. I like running it. It's nice when you can just go to a place and you don't have to do the research, the Google Maps and the where's the entrance and where's the this. I can basically, I can run this load all the way down and all the way back with no GPS at all. I typically run Google Maps on these just so I have traffic, but I don't need to know like where to turn or where to go or any of that. I got that figured out for a long time now. So that's the revenue side of it. Let's talk about the variable cost. Let's talk about the cost. One good thing about this run is it's pretty easy on fuel as far as overall. Now, if it was lighter, it would be better. But overall, it's okay. It's a lot of flat ground between Minnesota and Georgia, and then Georgia back up to Minnesota. You get through it's a lot of rolling hills, but not like hard mountain pulls. I got Mont Eagle in there, and basically everything else, it slows me down, 5 to 10 miles an hour, and then I can just cruise on, 65 mile an hour. That's typically what I run these. The loads coming down typically load in the afternoon. So I load those in the afternoon. I put in a full shift after I get loaded, like 8-9 hours of running. Shut down, take a 10, get back up, run it at night again. I stay on the night schedule going down because it helps me when I get reloaded because those load at night as well. So typically if I'm on the night schedule, I go ahead and get that reload coming back to Minnesota loaded at night, and then I run that, as far as I can basically. I try to get like 300 miles done. I come out of Georgia. I like to come out of Georgia. I like to get through Atlanta. I like to get through Chattanooga. I like to get through Nashville at night. And then once I get through there, I just stop wherever I feel like stopping after that. But I try to get at least that much of it done. Then I get up the next day and, I run a full day, 500-600 miles. And then that typically leaves me like another 200 to 300 to finish up the load. So I try to get basically 300 miles the first night, and then 500 to 600 the next night. That puts me up like, 800 to 900. That leaves like 250, under 300 usually. So I've got its system on it figured out. I make it pretty easy when you can, just run the same thing over and over like that. When I was a company driver, I used to love a dedicated account. I would take a few cents less per mile if somebody could get me on a dedicated run. And it's kind of the way it is with this. Knowing where all your fuel stops are, basically I know there's 2 to 3 fuel stops I check going down. And when I come back, I actually come back a different way. Because the load that leaves out of the Twin Cities area, and the load coming back delivers into southern Minnesota. So I typically come back like through Iowa and all that. So it's a little bit of a different fueling setup on the way back than it is on the way down, but I've got it pretty much figured out. And $9.52 on the diesel, $1.59 on the reefer, $46 on def, $8 on tolls, 0 on scales, 0 on parking, $11.65 total variable cost, bring over the 4,320, the 80% to my company, subtract 1165 in variable cost out of that. That leaves me 3155 left to do what I have to do. Now, there are some guys that do this, and when they get back to Minnesota, they immediately reload, and you can get back down to Georgia in the next 2 days. So that's one of those things where you could tack on another outbound and make it a really, really good week. But for me, I just don't like running that hard. You know what I mean? Typically, when I go home, what I do with these is I take a 34 to 48 hour break and I just reload it the same and run it the same. So I get a nice break in between the runs. Occasionally, if I know like I got something coming up where I need to take a few extra days off, I'll do 2 of them in a row. But for me, I don't like to run like really, really fast. So for me, when I start doing like 2 of these back to back, I get in trouble with my 70-hour clock. So that's what prevents me from doing it a lot. I'm still in the Freightliner. I'm still governed out. This truck is governed at 65 miles an hour, so that does take a little bit out of it, because when I run the Peterbilt, that first night going out, I'll run 70 miles an hour out. And then what that does is in a 8 to 10 hour run, that gets me an extra 50 miles or so down the road. So it adds up. If you do that, 5 mile an hour less on a full, say 50 hours of running every week, that's like 250 miles you're not getting done. So it adds up. It does. So that's the week, everybody. I'm digging these. I'm going to keep doing these as much as I can. In this particular freight market, unless World War III breaks out and we need a lot of freight moved really quick and they actually start paying us something to move it, then hey, maybe. But as of right now, the spot market looks atrocious to me. I just don't see it. I'm going to stick with what I got here. And that's my week of running a truck, everybody. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like button if you don't mind. Become a subscriber if you haven't already. Take care of each other out there, and remember, people are more important than trucking. Hi, I want to talk to you real quick about the ES Advantage card. Do you need discounts at major truck stop chains? They got them. Do you need discount on shop rates at TA and Love's? They got them. Tire discounts. They even got health insurance now. Click the link down below. Easy application, no credit check. Sign up. They give you a call back, take all your information, and you'll be in the network. Do you need to save money by not idling your truck? Of course you do. That's why I'm introducing you to Zero Breeze today. Zero Breeze, a lightweight portable air conditioner that makes 5,280 BTUs of cooling power. Yes, you need this if you idle your truck overnight to stay cool. Yes, this will save you tons of money. Use my link below when you order, and I appreciate it.